Good evening, friends. Dr. Swami, Shri Iyer, dear friend Suresh, then Sakuji, Nikinj of Jagdish, all of you, my greetings and then well wishes. Now we have Swamiji's Dr. Swami to leave at 6:40 or so there is not much of time. I am not going to take much of your time. The only thing is, every time I hear Swami or meet with him, it's always very fascinating. For instance, he brought out for a long time, this has been thought about by many people, but he has brought out now the very important issue that this Ram Janambhoomi is not a title deed fight, for which they have been doing for decades actually, to whom the land belongs. He made it into a subsidiary issue. The main issue is issue of right to pray. So the title deed issue is primarily what one can call a civil rights issue, but the issue of right to pray is a fundamental right given in the Constitution. So he has completely altered the nature of the debate now on this issue, because the Allahabad High Court judgment was primarily focusing on the title deed, who should have how much land, and that's only so every time he brings in newer insights on any issue which he enters, whether he went out as a Sardar auto driver to escape the emergency provision. So he is somebody who is innovative and something which is extraordinary, I would say. If only we have 100 Swami, the country would be totally different. We have Iyer, who is the author of the book. I would strongly urge all of you to buy the book. Very important. You may or may not read it, I don't care. You must buy the book. That is very, very important. He's a fascinating person. He has huge number of franchisees and IPR registered in California, and he's a man with passion actually. He is driving these P-Gurus, and he is very courageous. When you read the book, you will know how much he has put in effort, and he says it doesn't matter. I will tell it as it is, right? So, but very interesting, other mainstream media has not taken it up. So I asked one of them, why are you not showing interest? Hey Baba sir, tomorrow you may write about us also. So, the silence of the media is fascinating. Huge amount of material has come out of the income tax department on the previous finance minister, P. Chidambaram. The entire Tamil media is silent. He's from that state actually. There should be at least some debate, some discussion of that. One is not telling that all of that is right or wrong, but the debate should at least be there. No. There is a total radio silence on that. So the media is something very interesting. Actually, in that context only, when we are discussing about corruption and black money, this becomes an extremely important thing. One of the pillars of our republic, namely the media, has completely lost its moorings. So the mainstream media is not anymore. When I was in school, people used to argue, and finally a clenching argument will be, it has come already in the newspaper. So then there will be silence. People will accept it. Particularly in those days when you say it has come in the paper Hindu, that is the end of it. After that there are no more arguments. But today you can't, if you say it has come in the paper, everybody will laugh at you actually. Or they may say the opposite is true. That is the way in which. So the credibility of the media is substantially eroded. I hope they get the point. That is very, very critical, because that's one of the... See, there are some institutional pillars which are getting eroded in the whole process. We had a president actually, lady president, everybody told women empowerment. After she left, the report suggested 22 trucks were taken to her village. And the reports also mentioned, I don't know, I hope it's not true, the trucks were not returned, including the material inside. Trucks were also kept. And there were a lot of discussion that she wanted the Rashtrapati Bhawan annex to be packed and other thing. That Agarwal packer told, no sir, we have never done any of these things. He has got Inca book of record, but he has never packed a building. So, you see, the next president, he went out of the Rashtrapati, he came back and returned the pen. He, by mistake, he has taken that pen. He said, this doesn't belong to me. When his brother came, it appears, he insisted the bill should be paid by him, who stayed in Rashtrapati Bhawan. And when all his relatives came from Ramnathpuram, he took them, they all went around Delhi and Taj Mahal and all those. All that trip he wanted to pay, and he did pay. And all his assistants are, they were shocked actually. They had never seen any president paying from their pocket. The president's pocket, other people's pocket, of course, they pay. So, see the contrast you can see actually. So, it's not that everything is lost. There is always some, what one can call, but the general institutional structure is in deep crisis. Judiciary, media, two institutions which people normally used to have certain amount of respect. So what has happened is this has spread a lot of cynicism among people. If certain judicial decision is given, immediately the average middle class people, oh, you would have purchased the judge. That's a reaction actually. It may or may not be true, but that is not important. The general perception is there is a huge amount of erosion of acceptability and neutrality of these institutions. Media, you don't even have to ask. People immediately, so you get a lot of advertisement, you would have got this, you would have, so no need to believe. So ultimately what matters is credibility of these institutions. So corruption is eroding in various aspects of our public life. Government, ministers, MLAs, no need to mention about it even. But some of these other institutions, and that is one of the important things has been highlighted in this, one of the major and important institutions, not necessarily from viewership point of view. It might be having 1% viewership or something. Because English TV channels are not having huge viewership. But in terms of influence, in terms of its ability to have the decision makers, policy makers to come on their studios and discuss, that is phenomenally high. And all these institutions are in crisis. And I think it is important. People like Dr. Swami are fighting it, but much more important is bring back certain amount of probity in public life. Very important. These institutions like judiciary and media, as one of my friends was suggesting, those days, Anil Dawani is no more, unfortunately. He also used to work with Ram Jethmalani. So some of these people wanted to file as early as 2011, that tax haven and other thing, you have to file a case against all this, public interest, right? So there was a huge discussion in the event, and then the person in the court, the administrative cadre, clerical cadre, he was also very, very unhappy about level of corruption in public life. And he told it's a very good decision, sir. You must fight it. It's not something which you should. Then he asked, now you want to file it? Then he told, yeah, no, wait. There is another judge who will come. That will be more favorable. This judge, he asked many more, much more. To fight corruption cases, this judge will ask you more funds. So this is where we have landed ourselves in. So that's a type of it was told that in one of the high courts that the judge got very furious. And he told the lawyers representing both the parties, you gave me 50 lakh, he gave me 60 lakh, what do you think of yourself? And the lawyers were trembling. He told, I am returning him the 10 lakh. So that both are 50 lakh. Now the law will take its own course. So this is the type of what one can call humor which we have landed ourselves in. The institutions which used to be having enormous amount of credibility and respect are getting eroded. The only way is to bring back what one can call probity. Go back to our shastras in terms of nirhankara and aparigraha. I think these are the two fundamental principles which should be enshrined in our constitution. Not socialism and secularism. Non-covetousness. Do not covet other fellows. whether it is wealth or whether it is gold or whether it is woman or anything, non-courteousness. That is the most important in terms of aparigraha. Nirahankara in terms of having enormous amount of self-aggrandizement or self-pride or, that I am, in Tamil, there is a huge, very famous proverb by a elderly lady, Avayar in Tamil. What you have learned is only handful. What you have not learned is actually the entire globe or entire world. So, not necessarily in terms of knowledge, in terms of wealth, everything. What we have got is substantially lower. Sense of humility should pervade. And this is extremely important. And maybe for the coming decade, this should become one of the mantras which should drive us. That the probity in public life, we have to bring it back. We have to bring back the qualities of leadership which fought for our freedom. There were, Kripalani, there were Sardar Vallabh Patel. Even after independence, we had Kamaraj. So many type of leaders who had a sense of purpose, who had a sense of doing things. I think it is required for us to work on that basis. And I am extremely thankful to CII for bringing this book because it highlights the levels to which we have, what one can call really, gone low. And it is required for us. And I wish actually NDTV covers it and also do what is popularly known as exclusive with Sri Iyer. NDTV exclusive with Sri Iyer on his book would be a crowning glory of his thing. But I do not know whether they would really be enthusiastic in doing it. But it is a must read for all of us because it will tell us the various amount of jugglery and various amount of interaction with the media, with the government, how it could facilitate so much amount of, and after that there is a brazeness as nonchalant, and that is what really bothers me as a teacher. It's not just you are corrupt, you are brazen. Nothing will happen to me type of an attitude, that, and even if it is well publicized, it comes out another thing, it's all right, what is there? So you go around the country, you talk about democracy, you talk about freedom of expression, you talk about claiming purity in public life. After, envisioning yourself in a couple of hundreds of crores. So this brazenness has to be, definitely, we should have a full stop for it. You cannot be brazen, you cannot be nonchalant, you have to pay a price. Now we have come to a situation where we feel, it's all right, God will punish him, that type of a situation. Law will punish him, people don't anymore think about it actually. God will punish him. Or next life, like the victim will become the judge will become the accused will become the lawyer. But Swami will be Swami, next life also. So thank you very much for providing this. And as I mentioned to you, do kindly buy the book. And my own book on black money and tax haven is getting released in June by Dr. Swami. I would request you to, all of you to, buy that also. Very important, right? Read, I cannot, I can't tell my students to read anything. How can I tell you?